Check 1 2 1 2. Saturday Q&A. Let's go. It's Brother up in the building. We're going real mobile right now. I'll give you guys a little time to come in. Looks like somebody's already logged in on the Young Chizat. So if you guys got any questions, hit me up. All right. Let me know where you're from. I'll shout you out. Shout your mom out. And everybody else. So yeah, I got this idea about mobile production just from some of the stuff that I was posting on Instagram this week. And so some of my Instagram followers just like, yo, this is ill. It's dope. A lot of people don't know, how awesome mobile production is right now. But mobile production is uber ill. And so I figured I'd do a young video on a couple of the top bangers. You know what I'm saying, right now. Thanks for logging in, guys. My Instagram joint. What up, Tay B? What's good? Compton is in the building. Yeah, Tay B the realest. I haven't forgotten about you, dog. So yeah, two of the top bangers is iMPC Pro, which is made by Retronyms, and then you got iMPC. No, I'm sorry, iMaschine, which is made by a company called Native Instruments, which they have a breakout box that they came out with, I think, around 2009 with iMaschine, the software. So it's came a long ways. So let me pay a couple bills. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't liked this video. And visit the advertisers on my video. Click on the links, you know what I'm saying? And then also feel free to click on that super chat button to support the channel. Or hit up my PayPal joint. So paypal.me/brother. Any amount is appreciated. You want to grab some beats. My new domain name is rawbeatswithaz.coffee. So just like you put in like any.com, you put in rawbeats.coffee. So that's the business. So yeah, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more time to come through. And again, if you have any questions, hit me up. Sunny day in Chi-Town. I got to get out there and record some footage today. And then I'm working on a couple different beats and projects that actually have nothing to do with me. It's crazy. And so I'm going to be digging into that stuff today too as well. But I just want to hit you guys up with a quick vid. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is changing as far as, the way that you can monetize videos and stuff like that, the type of content you can put up. The Donald is signing some executive orders, man. It's changing the way that we produce and can get paid, and dealing with social media, and also it kind of fringes upon our freedom of speech, what we can really say and still make money. But this, it's the times, it's the new millennium. You know what I'm saying? So with the new millennium comes new technology, and so I got a couple pieces of tech here that I'm gonna go into. So yeah, you guys might be seeing some Wi-Fi. Actually, let me turn my Wi-Fi off on here so that let me put this joint on air plizzle. Air plizzle mizzle, my nizzle. So yeah, so won't be getting all of those freaking pop-ups and crap because I have a lot of notifications on my joint. So anyways, all right. We're 5 minutes in. That's enough time for who's gonna come through. It's gonna come through for the initial joint. Takes a little while. Last week, I put some stuff up on Instagram and Twitter that I was going on, and I had some riff-raff type cats come through. You know what I'm saying? Talking about shooting up my block and this and that. Woo out the bam. So I'm walking around. You know what I'm saying? Like ghetto boys peeping over my shoulder, looking around corners, my mind playing tricks on. No, but you can't be too careful in Chicago. You know, um, starting to get warm. It gets kind of crazy around here. Tay B, you know, you live in Compton. You know what it is. Sometimes you gotta wait till they stop shooting to do what you gotta do. Anyways, so I don't know if I should start with iMaschine or with iMPC Pro. I guess I'll just give you a brief overview of both of them since I had the iMPC Pro joint open. All right, so iMPC Pro. iMPC Pro is ill because the way that it's designed, and I've done a few videos on it before. The way that it's designed is just like a real MPC, right? And with the iMaschine was built, the breakout box joint, the joint that dropped before the app. The iMaschine was designed to do what the MPC does with more proficiency, and it made things easier because if you had like a MPC 2000 XL, you had to go to a computer. iMaschine made it where you had all your samples on your hard drive, and when you needed to export something or mix something down, you made everything on the box right there on the computer, and then, bam, it's right there. You could export it to Pro Tools, Ableton, whatever, Logic, whatever you use. So, with iMPC Pro and iMaschine, you get another level of portability where you don't have to be stuck sitting in front of a laptop or a computer. You can just you could be in a cab in your Uber, you know what I'm saying, your Uber or Lyft, and throwing that hi-hat in there, that trap hi-hat that you heard in your head, but you ain't have time to do it because you was taking care of some business. So yeah, gives you another level of portability. Both of them do. While the iMPC Pro stays true to MPC fashion, iMaschine stays true to its level of comfortability where they have pre-made drum kits that are decent. The iMaschine Pro comes with drum kits as well. But I would say that building kits on the iMaschine, I'm sorry, I don't want to get these two confused because they both have I in the front. Building kits in iMPC Pro is more true to using the MPC, and that's what I like. Building kits in iMaschine, the flow is good, but it's not like MPC. And so if you learn on iMaschine, then that's your level of comfortability. I learned on MPC, so that's my level of comfortability. But I use both, and so that's what I'm gonna kind of like get into for you guys. So I keep scrolling through these projects. Not gonna be doing a tutorial. I'm just be comparing. Let's see. The last project that I was working on, let's see. The last project that I was working on was with a rapper, and we were in the basement of this church for a video shoot, and so I just looped something up, and he was writing his verse, I was writing something, and let me take a look at this mix. Now that was my last YouTube joint that I did. I did not want to go there. So I'm going to close loose changes. And I got a lot of autosave joints. Anyway, so he was able to write his verse, and then I can go in and export the projectile to I exported it to Logic, And then I went ahead and added all my bells and whistles and my tweaks and logic. Um, yeah, no problem to be on the insight and personal feedback. It's this is fun stuff. All right, let me play this beat. This is the beat right here. So this is the project that I'm working. This is the next studio recording that I'm gonna do in an actual studio. So with iMPC, I'm gonna go to the mixer. With iMPC, I'm able to go in and take my sample, put it on the track, and build from scratch, right? And there's an organic feel to that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna solo this first instrument. So that's my sample right there. I think I made this beat on YouTube as well. I may, maybe not. So I got this sample or this drum kit soloed out, and that's one of those things that iMPC Pro is really dope at. Allowing you to take a sample, chop it up. In iMaschine, chopping samples is somewhat of a headache, and so that's one leg up that iMPC Pro has on iMaschine because of the ability to take one sample and then go into the sample editor and then chop the crap out of it. You know what I'm saying? And you can audition while you're chopping and whatnot. And so, what have I done? I just did something whack. All right, let me close and lose changes. So the choppability on iMPC Pro is king. Nobody is messing with that. Now, there's another player in the game, Beatmaker, where Beatmaker makes chopping easy, although there's more steps that you have to take to create a group and all of this. iMPC Pro just kind of like stays true to the MPC and just makes everything like uber simple. And so that's one of the leg ups that iMPC Pro has over iMaschine. You dig? And so let's see, what's the next thing I should go over? I don't have a format. And so whether you're using a sample or, let's see, let me go to track number, I guess 2. So whether you're using a sample or drums, iMaschine just kind of gives you more of the organic feel to where you can touch the music. And that's one thing that the MPC was awesome at, is it lets you touch the music in a way that most software does not. Not to knock software or anything like that, not to knock any apps. Okay, so, and I do have an ultimate thought about both of these apps. And so let me grab iMPC. Where did I put it? It's in here somewhere. All right, let me do a young search. So, where did I put iMaschine? So, iMaschine is definitely a must-have. Well, iMaschine too. iMaschine, the original, if you guys had it, you already know that it was pretty primitive and it was like a scratch pad app. Like, let me make this beat, and you make the beat, and then you could put it into your, you know, your workflow. Although it just had a whole bunch of like, not really setbacks, but limitations. Okay, I had a young crash. trying to do too much. So let me reboot this real quick. Uh, so it had limitations, and it's got to reboot. And with the reboot in iMaschine 2, we got a bunch of new tweaks and upgrades and things like that, where we were able to come in and be like, "Yo, this is ill." So, am I still waiting on this one? Okay, got this project loaded. So this is the project that I put on Instagram and got some good feedback from. So now with iMaschine, you still have the same, I would say, ability to take your drum kits and lay them across the pads and whatnot, but the ability to sample chop in iMaschine is non-existent. You can do it, but you would have to go through so many steps to chop a sample up in the joint that it's not worth the time of trying to develop the idea. By the time you get done chopping the sample up, it's like you could have made a few beats in that time. But the thing about our machine that's dope is your workflow could be a lot quicker than it is in iMPC Pro. That doesn't make it better. That just makes it a little bit faster. But it depends on what you're trying to cook up and how you're trying to cook. You know what I'm saying? So now with iMaschine, one of the leg ups that I would say that it has on iMPC Pro is that you have really, really cheap options for expansion packs. A lot of these expansions that come with iMaschine are like super cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these kits are like 99 cents. I think the majority of them are $1. And so with what did I use on this? I used the Queensbridge Story joint. I think I paid less than $5 for this joint. And so with this one kit, these sounds are already they're all. I really don't like that sax, but the joints are already mastered and treated and everything, and so they're quality sounds that you get just right off the rip for like $1. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay, if I buy this kit for $1, I make a beat. Let's just say I sell a beat for $2, which I would never do. I've made my money back for the app. You know what I'm saying? Or for that kit. This app, I forgot how much this app costs. If you buy it on iPhone, I think it's like $5 or something like that. iPad, it may be a little more. I don't remember. Anyways, uber cheap. You can sell one beat and make your money back for the app. That's the bigger piece of the pie. Like, and with iMaschine as well. I'm sorry, with iMPC Pro as well. iMPC Pro is less than $20. You know what I'm saying? You sell a beat for $20, $40, you made your money back. You know what I'm saying? Which, it depends on what you want to sell your beats for, license your beats for, whatever. Exclusive, whatever type of producer you want to be. So, the reason why I say that the workflow is faster with iMPC Pro is, click, 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 drum kits, everything's already popped up. You know what I'm saying? And the color coding makes it easy to recognize which kit you're using. Now, as far as limitations in iMaschine limits you to 4 tracks, whereas in iMPC Pro, I'm gonna just say iMPC. In iMPC, you have a significant amount of tracks that you can load up. It's over 20. I think it's in the 50s or 60s. I think you may have like 64 to 128 tracks that you can load up. iMPC is king of the sample and sampling. Although iMaschine does have a sampler, as you can see here, and you could save your sample inside of your kits and chop it up, or put it onto a pad. I would say chop it up. You can put it onto a pad, and then you can manipulate the regions of the sample. Like you could load the same sample up on 16 pads, and then like separate the regions. Again, I'm not doing a tutorial. Like it's not a headache, but it's crazy. So here's a mixer. So you saw the mixer in iMPC. This is the mixer for iMaschine, and you got your 4 tracks. You get a maximum of 2 effects per track, and so once I drop down the joint, if I can drop down the joint, you got your delay, chorus, flange, your lo-fi. You got your low pass, your band pass, and your high pass filters, which are basically flagship effects on the MPC. And so Maschine does a decent job at mimicking these effects, or implementing its own effects or whatever. And so you can apply those to up to 2 of those per track. And so depending on what track that you are using, you can do a bunch of things, but the limitation is you only can add 2 effects per project. And so, I'm sorry, not 2 effects per project. Let me go back to the mixer before I say something wrong. You can add 2 effects per project, and so you would select which tracks can use those 2 effects. You can't add any more other than those 2. Whereas in iMPC, I mean, you got reverb, you got delay, it's got a host of effects as well as compression that you can add to tracks, and so iMPC Pro trumps iMaschine in that area. And so when you're looking at the workflow of iMaschine, it does have a quicker workflow in that once I go into my track, and then I just choose whatever kit I want. You know what I'm saying? I go into my expansions and I say, okay, I want this kit. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Load my kits up on each track. Then I start recording. You know what I'm saying? I get my drop down menu, set my tempo, quantize, blah, 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 blah. Boom. If you are somebody who uses iMaschine, the software on your laptop, you can export this joint. You can Wi-Fi the project or Bluetooth the project to your laptop, and then open it up in Maschine, and then go start hammering on it from your laptop, and then export it to your DAW and all of that stuff. So that's dope. At the same time, you have the same option with iMPC Pro, although there's a couple different ways that you would need to work that out, pending whether you needed waves or whether you needed MPC project, an MPC project file. And so if you use an MPC, or if you use something like MPC Studio or MPC Essentials, you can, to my knowledge, export an XPJ file. And so with an XPJ file, you can take that with the samples and then run it in whatever MPC that you want to run it in, whether it be the studio version or Essentials or whatever. All right? So let's see, what's the next thing? So, that's the sampling on iMPC is king. Um, Although I would say that the expansion packs in Maschine are uh, a lot cheaper. Not necessarily better, because once you go into RetroNem's audio copy and you go into the store, then you can see curtailed kits by producers as well. Um, and nothing's really, I wouldn't say anything is really just thrown together. Um, those uh, those expansions that you can download for iMPC Pro are really good. Um, and so it's definitely a must-have. iMPC Pro is a must-have. Now, if you got $20 and you trying to decide should I get iMPC Pro or whether I should get iMaschine, I would say you need to reconsider if production is for you. Um, if being a producer is something that you really want to do, I would say get a little bit more money and get both of these apps and start looking at these expansions inside of RetroNem's audio copy store, because what you're doing is actually building a repertoire of sounds that can really like up your production game. Now, here's another leg up with iMPC Pro that you don't get with iMaschine. Once, see, MPC is the king sampler. All of the rest of these samplers out here, whether they made by Native Instruments or whether they made by whoever, they're all copying the king. And one thing that is dope about, and I've shown you guys this in a couple tutorials. One thing that's dope about iMPC Pro is that it can slave other apps. So while if I have a nice loop or a sample or a sound inside of iMaschine, I can take that sound and then I can resample it, or I can use iMPC Pro as the master and slave um, iMaschine. iMaschine does not have that option. And so then when you make a beat in iMaschine, it's pretty much what it is. But inside of iMPC Pro, you have the option to, go in there and say, okay, I want to sample uh, this kit or this kick or this sound or this loop or this whatever, and then you can pull your sounds from iMaschine into iMPC Pro. So that's a huge option that iMaschine fails at, but at the same time, I think that the sampling on iMaschine is really great as a field recorder or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that you can sample what's on the sound card. I haven't tried to sample the sound card in iMaschine, but that may be an option. But it's still not real-time inter-app audio, because when you're sampling the sound card, sometimes it samples the mic as well, and so you get the ambient noise from the room that you're in and all of that crap, and you don't want that. So iMPC Pro is definitely the boss when it comes to mastering and slaving out of the two, because with iMaschine, you don't get that option. You don't have that option at all. Whereas with iMPC, you have a plethora of apps if you have them inside of your iMPC. I'm sorry, inside of your iPad, and yeah, you can you can basically sample anything. And so You can with both you can pull samples out of your iTunes. You know what I'm saying? And chop samples from your iTunes and things of that nature. I did a YouTube video on how to sample YouTube with your iMaschine. I'm sorry, with your iMPC Pro. Um, iMaschine does not have that option. Um, you would not be able to sample YouTube samples or chops or whatever with iMaschine, so keep that in mind. Um, so ultimately, out of the two, I would say that iMPC Pro is the king. And as far as which one I would encourage you, I would say that you need both. You don't necessarily have to have both, but you need both. Um, and once you start working with both of the apps, you will see what I'm talking about. Um, both give you different options when it comes to workflow. iMaschine is, again, it's like a scratch pad, like you pulling the pad out and you're writing on it with your pencil and you're erasing and re-recording. You know what I'm saying? Stuff really quickly. Whereas iMaschine is more for it's a more of a producer app. iMaschine, I would say, I'm sorry, yeah, iMaschine, I would say is more of the hobbyist. Even though you can do some full-fledged bangers on that boy, like, don't get me wrong. I see a lot of people on social media that really like playing with iMaschine, like, oh, look what I can do, making little loops or whatever. And they're okay. You know what I'm saying? Those loops are okay, especially for those like dub and trance beats where they're just making a boots and pants beat. Um, but ultimately, I would say that, you know, iMPC Pro is for the MPC Pro. So yeah, of course, if you use MPC, I definitely would say go and grab this app now. When it comes to hardware versus iPad, and that's kind of like another conversation. When it comes to iPad versus hardware, this app, iMPC Pro, is the reason why I did not go out and grab a MPC Studio Black or MPC Studio Silver. Um, MPC Studio Black and Silver do give you the portability with the laptop, but at the same time, I could do the same thing with iMPC Pro at a much, more convenient um, dollar. Can I say that? With a much more convenient dollar? Yeah, the dollar is more convenient with this app than it is with the MPC Studio Black or the MPC Studio Silver. Although, don't want to discourage anybody from buying those pieces because, hey, I may grab one at some point. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to really budgeting, these apps, both of these apps are really great option to start getting into production if you don't really produce. If you don't know how to produce, these are some really great options to get started. But if you've been producing for 15, 20 years, whatever, you can really dig into these apps and be like, oh snap, I didn't realize that I have the same options that I do with my DAW in these apps. I didn't realize that I can export my project, boom, straight to my DAW, and then boom. So, having this on hand, having an iPad on hand with your apps on it that you can make beats, it's invaluable, especially at the price. You know what I'm saying? And so, price wise, when I compare iMPC Pro with iMaschine, iMPC Pro is a little bit more expensive, but again, you can slave other apps with it. You know what I'm saying? You have more options with your mixer, and as you can see, I have 7 tracks on this one particular project, whereas when I open iMaschine, I only have 4. Um, and with these tracks, I can open up the effects and I can add these effects to either track. turn them off and on, and I can even determine what level of the effect that I want to have with compression and chorus and delay and all of those things. It's got reverbs. It's amazing. And so you got a lot of tracks and you got a lot of options in iMPC Pro. You know what I'm saying? And so that's huge. Where let me go back to iMaschine. In iMaschine, you only get a few options when it comes to your tracks. So here you can see that I have a vocal track. Let me hold down the button. So I can change this to keys or pads. And so you have those three options, and that's something that you do not have inside of iMPC Pro. There's no keys options. You do have a piano roll or a step recorder where you can use. And iMaschine just added the step recorder on version 2. But with the keys option, what you would need to do with iMPC Pro is, connect a freaking controller, and then you can trigger the samples or the sample chops with the pads. I'm sorry, with your controller. So with iMaschine, the pad option is definitely a plus, but again, the limitations of the app are kind of prevalent after you start using it, you know what I'm saying, the first couple of days or whatever. But another leg up that you do have with iMaschine 2, again, if you're using it standalone, if you're slaving it to iMPC Pro, it's got a chord mode where you can use it to trigger samples where if you don't know how to play, you can just put in, hey, I want you to play this scale, the C scale or the C sharp, D, whatever scale, major, minor, or you can make the sample go up and down chromatically and things like that. And so one thing that's dope, if you're using both and you have something going in iMPC Pro, like this joint, actually this is 2 different beats, sounds great, right? You can sample your chords that you play in iMaschine 2 and give yourself some keys in iMPC Pro. And so that that MPC swing with the iMaschine keys, the ability to play the chords and whatnot and sample a loop or whatever is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, I guess I should wrap this thing up. How long have I been talking? About 40 minutes? So, all in all, you know what I'm saying? Take your $20 to get both of these apps and use the money that you have left over to buy some expansion packs and audio copy. Download these apps, man, and mess around with them because, ultimately, you could go and buy a brand new iMaschine, or you could go and buy a brand new iMPC, you know what I'm saying, and get started, bopping like that. At the same time, in 2017, you don't need those things. You don't have to have them, even though they're great and they, express your level of comfortability, like I'll expressing in the details of this video. Whatever you're comfortable with, go and grab that. Me, I like the iPad, and I like having my joint here. If I need a controller, I plug it into my freaking iPad, and then I trigger sounds. Unfortunately, iMaschine does not have MIDI capability. That's another leg up that the King iMPC Pro has. You can use it as a slave or master with your MIDI equipment. iMaschine has no MIDI capability at all. Although some of the projects in here, if you play the default projects, you can see where some of the MIDI has been manipulated by the people who made the app. And you have to kind of like be a guru to see what I'm talking about. You got to see it while it's playing and look at the way that the notes are being triggered. But they haven't opened that MIDI option up for this application. And so that hurts. That hurts a lot because you're stuck to this. And sometimes your fingers don't play the chords the way that you really want them to be played, and sometimes the grid snatches notes the wrong way, and so that's a setback. But um, in the future, workflow will increase. In the future, things will get better, things will get easier, and so I would say, stay tuned to these updates and keep watching what's crack-a-lacking with these apps, and they'll blow your freaking mind. Um, if you really want to dig into audio production on apps, I would say grab iMPC Pro, grab iMaschine 2, grab either Beatmaker 2, and they're about to drop Beatmaker 3. It's going to be insane. And that can be slaved and mastered as well. And then there's an app called Aria, which I haven't gotten yet. I think that app is like $50 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of top players in the game have mastered entire projects on that on their iPads with that. So, um, yeah, get both of the joints, man. Don't mess around. I mean, it's $20, dude. You go to freaking Burger King, 5, 6 times a week. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you go and you get a new PS3 game, PS4 game, or Xbox game. It's like take half of that, grab these apps, and get started. You know what I'm saying? Get banging, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, 4 freaking Happy Meals. you could you could be banging on your production side. If you guys got any questions, I'm getting ready to close this thing out. Um, and so let me know if you guys got any questions, and then I'll shout you out. Whatever. Throw a like on the video, hit the super chat button. You dig, and we're good to go. Am I forgetting anything? Mm-mm-mm. I may be forgetting a bunch of stuff. I don't know. But ultimately, going to grab both of these apps would definitely be in your favor. Um, Although I would say that being that I'm a MPC head, I use iMPC Pro a lot more than I use iMaschine. Um, because of the way that I can feel the music. I can put more of my hands on the music. Uh, iMaschine is more of like a quick idea thing. I need a melody, put it down, blah 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 blah, and then run it back later. You know what I'm saying? Or pull it into iMPC Pro and then work with it, or pull it into the DAW, whatever. You always have the option of running audio out through the headphone jack. Um, and I'll get into some of the other options that you have with these apps later on another video. I should do a tutorial show you guys how you're able to take these little rinky-dink apps where people really think they are and show the power that they actually have in running them from your app into your DAW, and then going from your DAW to iTunes or wherever you sell your beats or whatever. It's a really big ocean of options that you guys may not know about. So, it's Bro Love. It's been another Q&A Saturday. I haven't had very many Q's. Just all A's. Not too many people came through. So it's still good. Shout out to everybody who cops this vid on the replay. And yeah, social media has been introducing me to some really dope people, man. And so shout out to all my subscribers. Shout out to everybody who follows me on Insta and Twitter. And everybody who's buying the drum packs, the sample packs. If you haven't copped any of my sample packs, they're in the description of this video. So scroll down, hit the little more information arrow to drop down and then go and grab some sample packs. You dig? All right. I'm pretty much done. I went on my rant for iOS apps. Android users. iMPC Pro just dropped, what, a week ago? So you can go and grab iMPC Pro on your Samsung Tab, bro. I don't think iMaschine is available on Android quite yet. And if Native Instruments has a release date, I do not know. You might want to go and hit them on their Twitter. Retronims, the people who make iMPC Pro, are really intuitive, and they're really quick on the response time. They have a really dope support team, and they get back to you quickly. And they aren't like arrogant, you know what I'm saying? Like some places you hit them up about their product and they're like, you know, I can't really explain the arrogant level that some of these people are on, but Retronims is definitely not like that. So I would say, you know, if you have problems with the app, you hit them up, bada bing. They're really quick and dope with the updates as well. Native Instruments, I haven't really had to deal with them like that over the years, you know, using Contact and what's something else that I use? Native Instruments has they do so much. There's that I'm tongue twisted. Retronims and Native Instruments both provide a level of comfortability with their products, and if you don't like really use them like that, there's a lot of content online outside of having to contact them where you'll be able to learn how to use their gear or whatever. And so that's the business. Even with these apps, it's crazy, man. All right, so that's love, man. Bruh on the beat, bruh on the vid. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this thing out. Mr. Cafe Con Leche, signing off on y'all. Holler.